Hi, 10E and 10F. This is Mr. Weiss. I'm here for a week at home. So I'm going to teach you about esters and how to name them. And then I'm going to give you some homework later in the week to try out as well. But first, please watch this entire video and take notes on it. All right. Hope you can see my little tiny whiteboard board in my little tiny studio in my little tiny basement. So that's what we got to work with. Okay. So I'm going to review a bit, and because it's been a while, I know that, and then we'll dive into esters. Okay? All right. Well, actually, I take it back. I'll dive into esters first, and then we're going to review a little bit to sort of see how they work. Okay? All right. So here we go. What the heck are esters? I think we began this with one of the two classes, 10E or 10F, but I don't remember which one, and it doesn't matter. We didn't get very far. So we're going to just start from scratch and say, okay, what makes an ester is I've got an alcohol plus an organic acid. All right, and I think with both groups, we've discussed organic acids, but only a bit. I have a sheet on that I'll send you at some point too, but there's not a whole lot to know, only that they're going to be important in esters. And later on, when we talk about fats, they're going to be really important. Okay? So we'll review both of those in a moment. Okay, so you put these two together and you get an ester. And as they join, they sort of squeeze out some water. So you get water as what we call a side product, okay? Side product. It means I'm not necessarily trying to make it, but it happens nonetheless. We'll look at an example later on, but that's the general thing about esters. Okay, well, what are esters? You're actually familiar with esters. You're walking through esters all the time. You emit esters. You smell esters because really they are in perfumes. They're the smells, okay? They come off of perfumes. They come off of flowers that have nice aromas. And they come off of fruits like bananas and oranges. That's the smell you smell, okay? And they're used as flavorings. So artificial esters are put into a lot of foods as flavorings. Or shall we call them aromas? Oh, my gum smells like watermelon. Okay, it's probably got an ester put in it to smell like watermelon. All right, if you like watermelon gum. Ute. Okay, so this process of making an ester, you'll love this. Okay, an alcohol plus an organic acid makes an ester plus water. This is called, just a vocabulary word you got to know, esterification. And it will come up when we talk about fats as well. So it's important, that word, esterification. So that's the process. Process of making an ester. Esterification, process of making an ester. Okay, what else we got? Um, Notice that I got water here. I'm going to put a little star by the water and tell you now that a lot of chemical reactions make water. And what that's called goes like this. So I'll say, and any reaction that forms water as a side product, and there's lots of them, including those in the human body, okay? A lot of reactions we do all the time, is a new word, condensation reaction, RXN, short for reaction. Okay, well, if you know the word condensation, it means what? Like rain or dew or whatever. And they both involve water. So it kind of is a different meaning, but it does involve water. So if it's a reaction that forms water as a side product, it's a condensation reaction. So all esterifications are also condensation reactions. But all condensation reactions are not necessarily esterifications. Okay, so I can make condensation, I can make water in lots of reactions. They're not all making esters. Some are, some aren't. All right, okay. Ute. I'm going to erase that and now back up a little bit and review with you. Okay, let me make sure my time's going. It is. Okay, so I won't make this a super long video, but I'll make it as long as I need to. It's your introduction to esters and naming esters. So you'll be able to do this on your own as homework later in the week. Okay? That's our goal. When I come back, we're going to do some labs and make some esters as well. All right? Some smell good, some smell bad. They don't all smell sweet. All right? I wish you were there and you can ask questions, but you can't. So we're just going to keep on going. In the smallest studio in the world. Here we go. Recall. Okay. The alcohol name comes from basically, I guess we could say an alkane root word. So alkane root plus, as you probably know, OL, right? Ethanol, methanol, pentanol. Some of those we had in lab and so on. Heptanol, OL ending. Okay, so that's alcohols. And here I'll put a little example. Example, the one that's in beer and wine, ethanol. And again, some of you may have missed this or not had it yet. I don't know, but I think both classes did. So that's alcohols. Let's talk about organic acids. The main one you know is in vinegar. Vinegar is 5% of an organic acid. So the name goes like this. It's again alkane root. Okay. Plus the ending oic plus the word acid. So it's a little more involved, okay? As an example, we could have propanoic acid. In German, I think it's like Propansäure. Okay, so they don't do necessarily the oic in German, but we do in English. All right, so that's alcohol and organic acid so far. That's probably review for most of you anyway. Let's talk about naming esters now. All right. This will be probably half of your next test, or almost half. All right. So it's important. So I'm going to give you an example, and then I'm going to have you practice some later in the week. Again, esterification happens in other processes too in the human body. That's why it's important. If you go on in bio and Leiston's course or AP Bio, you'll have more esterification reactions in 11th and 12th grade too. Ute. So what do? So naming an ester, what we do, I'll put a little equal sign here again, is we're going to take an alkane root from the alcohol, alkane root from alcohol, and we add a YL ending. And this is why esters are harder. There's two words to name the ester. For the second word, you have an organic acid. The organic acid alkane root plus the ending ATEH. That's the scoop. And by the way, with naming esters, it's two words in English. And as is so often the case, German shoves it together, so it's one word in German. You just take out the space in between them, and the naming is almost identical, okay? So don't think it's a big deal if you have future chemistry in German. You'll recognize the words, okay? Ute. I'm going to do a root now. I'm going to do an example now, but I think I need a clean board to do it. Once again, I've kind of filled up my little tiny whiteboard. So I think I'm going to erase this. You can always stop the video to catch up. And then we'll do an example together, okay? All the homework you'll do, you're going to do in two ways. You're going to do in words, a word equation, and you're going to do it in structural formulas, okay? So let's do an example. So ester reaction in words. Say A, in words. And I'm going to change again to blue because that's not coming off so good. So I'm going to do an ester reaction first in words. Okay, so I'm going to give you the names. So here we go. What I picked was butanoic acid, and we're going to add to it methanol. And arrow means forms or yields or makes, right, in chemistry. Reacts to is German. Don't say that, okay? That's wrong. So butanoic acid and methanol forms. Well, we already know there's going to be water as a side product, right? Plus, we're going to name the ester now. It's got two words, and I'm going to have to put it down below because it's not going to fit. Okay, so here we go. We're going to take the alcohol. Remember, let's use our little rule, okay? It's the alcohol alkane root. So that's meth. And now we're going to say a YL ending on that. So I hope you're looking at your notes. I'm looking at mine, okay? So an alkane root from the alcohol, methyl. So methyl, lowercase. It's not German, so it's not capitalized in English. And then the second word, it's from our organic acid, We're going to take that root, buta, or butane in this case. Butane is our root, just to make it more pronounceable. And then ATE, so methyl space butanate. All right. So our ester here is methyl butanate, 2 words. In German, methylbutanat. Methylbutanat. Okay. That's pretty much it, except now we're going to do the same thing again in structural formulas. In struct formulas. So first we did it in words, second we'll do in structural formulas, just like you're going to do in your homework later in the week. All righty? Okay so far? Hope so. Wish you could ask me questions, but you're going to see this later. Okay, so here we go, everybody. Buta is how many C's? Hope you said 4. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. And to make it an acid, remember it's a double bond O and then an OH off that same carbon. Okay, no more room on that carbons, but I'm going to put H's here. Remember to put your H's, otherwise you lose points on a test or quiz for no reason at all. Okay, plus methanol. Okay, meth is 1. I bet everybody knows that. And then all means I got to put an OH on it. You know what? Maybe I'll put the OH on this side just to make it easier, because you're still learning this. What if I put the OH here? Well, then I still got to put some C's here to finish up the formula. Okay, and then an arrow for forming something. It's going to be sort of tight for me, but I'll try and scoop and fit it in. Okay, here's the deal. We make water, right? And that's H2O. Plus, and then I'll put the ester down here. Well, where does the water come from? Let's have a look. What would be the most obvious? If I squeeze these together, whoop, and now you can see why I put the OH here. I don't have to, but I did for you. So if I squeeze them together, the acid, remember last year in 9th grade, bases have an OH minus and acids have an H plus. Well, the acid gives off an H plus, and it's only the H that comes off that's attached to the COOH. So in an acid, organic acids have a COOH. The first is double bond. That can't break very well because it's strong. It's a double bond. And then the O stays on there, but the H comes off. Okay? And at the same time, the alcohol is going to have come off the OH. And if we put those together, lo and behold, I get H2O, right? 2 H's and 1 O. Beautiful. Now we just got to put together what's left. So this is the tricky part for some students. So we're going to attach this C onto where I pulled off the H over here. So we're going to glue that over there and maybe straighten it out just so it's easier to look at. All right, here we go. So I still got the same chemical over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's my bute with a double bond O up here. I'm going to fill in the H's for I forget. There we go. And now look what's left. There's an O left, so put it there. Now, O's make 2 bonds, so you're not done. You got to bond it to what's left from the other chemical. So now go over here, and that O is going to bond directly to the other C that's remaining. And that's your ester, all right? That's your structural formula for an ester. So the first part up to here came from the acid, and then the last little part, which is just a C, in this case, it could be a number of C's depending on the alcohol, that came from the alcohol. So acid part, ester part, alcohol, oh boy, acid part, alcohol part, when I put it all together, it's your ester, okay? And I don't know what that one is. It's called methylbutanate. And notice, even though I wrote it kind of, you got to write it this way with the alcohol part first, just to make it a little tricky for you, I built it backwards, didn't I? I put the alcohol at the end. You don't have to, but I did. I don't care what part you put first. If I turn it around and look at it, it's the same thing, okay? So the alcohol part is here, but the first part of the name comes from the alcohol. Methyl alcohol or methanol, methyl. The first part had four C's, butanate. Well, I just put that in front. It doesn't matter whether I put it this way or turn the whole thing around. What does matter is where you put this C. Like what would I do if I put it over here? Well, that would be wrong. It doesn't go over there. There's no spot to bond over there. There's still an H out here. What if I try to put it on the O? Well, that's completely bonded. O only bonds twice, so I can't put it up there. The only spot I can put the C that's left from the alcohol is where I pulled off the H from the organic acid. So you've got to do that carefully or you'll screw up your next quiz and test. Okay? So that's how you do it. I'm going to have you try probably 3 of them later this week to help you practice. If you have any questions, you can write me either in Google Classroom or you can write me an email about how to do things, okay? If you have problems. I'm okay with that. I'm home and I'm fine. But I'll be here all week. Good. I hope all of you are well. I wish I could be there live instead of as a little video. But I hope this short video will help you kind of get into the idea of esters and how to write equations and be able to name them correctly and draw the equations in words and in structural formulas. That's your goal. Okay? All right. Take care, everybody.